Happy Halloween. I hope you're going to go out and scare the hell out of some kids tonight. Yes? Is that what you're going to do, Spread? You're going to open up the door and just go Happy Halloween and creep them out. Is that what you're going to do, Zargo? I don't know. What's going on tonight, Spread? Are you dressing up like anything? It's the night of beautiful women that are scantily clad.
Isn't it the best holiday? When I was a kid, I loved 4th of July. As an adult, I loved Halloween. So I don't know what that says about me, but of course, we're going to have a good time. But boy, I'm getting old, man. Instead of going to look out at all these, find the best Princess Leia slave outfit costume, I'll be watching the Houston Texans take on the New York Jets. So something's wrong with me. I probably need to get my testosterone checked.
That'd be one way of doing it. So the last time I went out on Halloween was actually here in Denver, 2007, right after Game 4 of the World Series. And I saw more scantily clad, latex wearing women that were absolutely gorgeous than I'd ever seen anywhere in my life. Denver, Colorado, believe it or not. Zargo, what are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm hanging with the wife and kid, handing out candy, nothing too crazy, but I'll probably do a little fire in the driveway. So it'll be an enjoyable evening, watch some football.
You're going to set fire to your driveway? That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it'll be a good time. It's certainly not the wild Halloween maybe I once had.
All right, guys, here's what we're going to do on Thursday Night Thoughts. If you are not familiar with us and what we do, we go down, we break down the Thursday night game from every angle possible. I'm going to give out one of Keg's plays. So I know maybe a member or two will be upset, but stick around to the end. If you're not a member, you'll get one of Keg's plays. And then we'll also break down 3 Sunday games. Both of you want to talk about Denver and the Ravens. There's some line movement in that game that I think is really interesting. Then Zargo, I know you got the Rams and Seahawks on your mind, Miami, Buffalo for spread. But gentlemen, let's get into this game that we have tonight. Hopefully our last primetime game with the Jets. Hopefully they get flexed out of their Sunday night football game later this season. You can grab the Jets at home at either -2 or 2.5. This thing was sitting at 1.5 this morning, and it took the jump. And I remember earlier in the week, it was sitting at 1. The total has been pretty stagnant at 42.5. You did see some 42s, but I'll just use the line Jets -2 if you want to back the Jets. Texans +2.5. You can find 2.5 at FanDuel, 2 at DraftKings and other books. 42.5 total. Spread, talk to me here. What do we have for Thursday Night Football?
All right, another chance for the most overrated team in football to get their comeuppance on Thursday Night Football, as the New York Jets and all the fantasy football enthusiasts will run to back them on the strength of their wide receivers. The reality of this game is simply take out the fantasy aspects, right? You got a great name at quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Cool. You got Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, 2 of the best wide receivers in football. You have 2 great running backs. I mean, Braylon Allen is arguably the best backup running back in the league if we don't count David Montgomery as a backup. However, what's going on the offensive line? Tyron Smith is the left tackle for the New York Jets, is already one of the worst left tackles in the league. Now we're missing Vera Tucker, who was arguably the best lineman that they had. The right tackle is doubtful for tonight, and the Jets are missing another guard. So we can sit here and talk about wide receivers all we want and talk about how, CJ Stroud's going to miss Stephon Diggs. This Jets team already had problems blocking. Now they're going to miss some of their best linemen. I don't see how the Jets get it done here. Not to mention the Jets are missing both safeties. To be fair, the Texans are missing a couple safeties as well. But to me, I think everybody's outthinking themselves on this one. I think they're just being too smart, and you can use yards per play all you like and EPA and yards per attempt. But look at the Jets. Watch the film. They can't block the run, and they can't stop the run. On both sides of the ball, they're not going to have the advantage on the line of scrimmage. I think everybody's making a mistake, and I see a bunch of people that I know that, hey, they're pretty good at betting football. Unfortunately, I think they're wrong on this one. It seems like the square side, but if you go look at any Twitter poll, everyone's taking the Jets. I'm taking the Houston Texans here.
Ooh, all right. All right. I don't mind it. Listen, CJ Stroud has struggled on the road as opposed to home. He doesn't have Diggs. He doesn't have Nico Collins, but he does have Joe Mixon. And he does, I think, have the superior defense at this point. And he's got the better head coach. I mean, the Jets are just rudderless. It's a team without a head coach, basically, a guy in there that hasn't done anything for this organization to this point. Zargo, I just threw the link to your Thursday night article out there so they can get all of your free bets. It's in the chat right now. You want to give one or two that you like tonight? You're on mute, pal.
One of these days we'll get that figured out.
Over under mutes on Zargo show 1.5.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I always take the over.
Over? You're going to go over? Okay.
Maybe now we have this conversation, maybe not, but when I got dogs, it's probably going to be an over. I don't understand this line, man. I mean, I don't understand the faith people have in the New York Jets. If we looked at these teams NCAA 14 style, took the names off the back, just looked at the stats, no one would be betting the Jets. People just continue to bank on Aaron Rodgers turning it around and getting that new flashy wide receiver is supposed to be a big deal. We've seen him 2 games now, and they're still awful. So as many concerns as the Houston has due to injuries, you're not even having to bet Houston. While they are the superior team, it's just about fading the Jets. But if you want to talk about Houston, when you take the divisional games out of their schedule, which I mean, don't forget they're 7-3. I'm sorry, 6-2. 6-2. About to be. If you take the divisional games out of their schedule, it's a really impressive set of wins. And their losses, I mean, they lost to Green Bay by 2, and they got clobbered by Minnesota earlier in the season. I mean, they hammered New England. They beat Buffalo. They took care of Jacksonville. Like, this is a high-level team when they're not playing within their division. I don't know why that is, because they play in such a crappy one, but I don't know why anyone is underselling this team. So, in the words of some people I used to work with, save the points for the next guy. Just give me that Texans money line.
Give you the Texans. All right, Texans are 6-2. They've won 4 of 5. The Jets have lost 5 in a row. What could go wrong tonight, guys? And the Jets just have not won in a primetime game at home. It just seems like forever. So they absolutely stink. The one thing to talk about here, spread, and I want to get your thoughts on the total too. The Jets defense is 4th. You've got the Texans play really good defense as well. Maybe I'm the only one that would actually give the edge to the Texans in this spot, but the total, is this just something to shy away from at 42.5? Now I'm seeing 43. So it's back to 43. It was 43.5 earlier in the week. It's just a complete fade because 2 bad teams all of a sudden could get, or 1 bad team and 1 good team could get going at any point in time. 42.5. Thoughts there?
Yeah, usually I'm a big Thursday Night Football under guy, but I think they put this number a little bit too low. If we're expecting a close game, which I don't think is that crazy, you could see this going up and over. If this game goes under, it's because one team completely fails to score and gets blown out, and I don't really see that happening. I do believe the Texans do have the better defense, but the Jets should be able to get some things going. I mean, as hard as I've been on Rodgers, he does throw darts. He has 2 guys that can get open. I would lean towards a shootout more than a low-scoring game here. So as much as I love my Thursday Night Football unders, I'm not jumping in on this one.
Okay, what about you, Zargo? This is not a sky-high total, not a super low. I'd say just a little bit of a low total here. And again, you got Stroud without the 2 big weapons. And on the other side, you got Aaron Rodgers, who's just been a complete debacle. Completely washed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start with, to your point, Holden, about the defenses. While statistically, yes, New York has the better pass defense, Houston's is way better. New York's is untested. I mean, when they're turning over the ball and giving these teams good positioning on offense, of course your yards are going to be low because teams, they ain't got to move the ball that far on you. So I completely agree Houston has a better defense here. And I'm with spread in that the only way the over doesn't hit is if, the Jets just get completely embarrassed, which I think is a possibility. If I was forced to make a pick, I would go with the over. but just it's going to be right there. Like I see this game finishing in between 40 and 45. It's going to be a sweat. So I'd rather just not touch it.
All right. And then as far as player props go, I know you got one on Rodgers, Zargo. I know you threw that in your article today, free article, nukethehouse.com. But, as far as interception props go, I'll usually wait to hit him in game. Unfortunately, I think you had a player prop interception that I really wanted to tail, and I forgot to do that during the show. So maybe I should just bet the Aaron Rodgers now. But why Aaron Rodgers?
Houston's got an elite pass defense. Aaron Rodgers is incredibly I don't want to say he's been sloppy with the football, but the position his team puts him in, he's having to take shots downfield, and he's putting himself in positions where he's liable to throw an interception. Whereas CJ Stroud, I'm not seeing that much. He's smart with the football, and I don't see this as a type of game where he's going to have to take many risks. I also think, based on the Jets' defense, I think Houston's going to rely heavily on the run. So just everything we've seen out of both Houston's defense and Aaron Rodgers, I think he absolutely throws an interception tonight, and I think that's a great bet.
Yeah, and he has to face Will Anderson, the defensive end, who was the AFC Defensive Player of the Month. I mean, this guy has just been a destructive force right now. Spread, did you bother looking into the player prop market? In all honesty, like I know everybody's on mixing over rushing yards, and everybody likes his receiving yards, mix and Dell. You got any thoughts here?
Holden, we only have a limited amount of hours in today.
Okay.
And when you're at nukethehouse.com, and you have just guys that are absolutely crushing the player props.
Yes.
Like the Sports Keg, like JC Zargo, like the rest of the Discord we have going on. Why would I waste my time on that? I have the winners. They're in the Discord. And if you want to find about what I played on the player props, sign up to Nuke the House, head over and see what Keg put on the sheet, and you'll see what I'm on.
That is a wonderful segue. $59.99 a month, $599.99 a year. Best value, save $120. Or you just dip your toe in the water for a week if you want to for $19.99. So head on over to nukethehouse.com. Upper right-hand corner, there's a subscribe button. You're going to want to hit that and then sign up. A week, a month, a year. Check a month out. Sit around for a month. Who knows? Maybe you sign up and we don't have a great weekend, which is odd for this place, but maybe we just don't. Well, you're going to want more than 1 week. So just go sign up for the month. See how you do over the span of that time. And I'm telling you, unless you're a $1 bettor, you're probably going to pay for your subscription. Might be tough at $5 bettor too, but like 10 and up, you're definitely going to pay for your subscription. It's 6 units. That's nothing. This place pisses 6 units. Yeah, you like?
I mean, just tune into the show tonight. Keg will get you 6 units and use that to buy the subscription.
Yeah, that's as simple as that. We do have a Joe Mixon prop that I want to tell you guys about, but I'm going to save it for the end of the show. Make sure you hit the like button right now and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nuke the House YouTube channel. So, Spread, I went to you first for the game tonight, right? I'll go to Zargo for the first game this Sunday, and I know you're both on it, and I'm interested in seeing which side you guys are on because I honestly don't know. So we got the Broncos-Ravens. This was a 9.5 point spread earlier in the week. Then it was 9 yesterday, and now I'm seeing 8.5s just about everywhere. So, Zargo, talk to me here. Spread's going to talk about this game too. What about the Broncos and the Ravens stands out to you?
It's the amount of points. That is a crazy amount of points at 9.5. It's fine at 8.5. 8, we're starting to push it. I think 8 is fine. I would not go any lower than that. I don't see it. This Denver team is playing very well. While they are untested, as Spread and I have debated with Spirit a couple times this year.
Con gusto.
I don't think Denver is good enough to win outright, but they're certainly good enough to cover 8, 9, 10 points. And in Baltimore, I mean, that was a crazy game. It was a divisional game, so I'm not putting that much stock into that game against Cleveland. But, they're an incredible team. They are absolutely Super Bowl bound if they stay healthy. But I just, due to the injuries, their schedule, where they are in their season, it's not in their best interest to go out there and rout teams. While they certainly have, they're certainly capable of it. They're also liable to play like they did against Cincinnati and just sneak out of there with the win. That's what this team has done. In the past, this team has just dominated teams, and it's hurt them later in the season. They need to be more Chiefs style, pick up the win, get out of town. That's how you make it far in the playoffs. But ultimately, my reasoning for this pick is just I think Denver's better than that. They're going to make this a competitive game. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to be great to see the Broncos go up against a real competitive team. It'd be great if this turns into a competitive game. Honestly, I see Baltimore winning by touchdown. So, I mean, if we maybe want to do, I think it's like plus 385 if you want to do win margin for the Ravens. But it's just a number that jumps off the screen. I mean, you look at the times this year we've seen 10 plus. These two teams don't have the making for that. So it just jumped off the board at me. I grabbed it at 9.5. I think it's a phenomenal play for the weekend.
Yeah, and that 9.5's gone. Again, it's 8.5. You can find an 8 at DraftKings. You can find an 8.5 around the rest of the business. Bet online, if you bet offshore, you can find a 9 there. Outside of that, this line has moved spread. And I know that you have a bet on this too. So are you with Zargo, against Zargo, on a completely different play? What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I'm with Zargo. I mean, I agree with most of what he said, except for that the Ravens are Super Bowl bound. And the reason I don't think that's the case is I think they've taken too many hits on defense. The loss of Mike McDonald combined with the loss of Patrick Queen, this team's downgraded quite the bit on the defensive end of the ball. And then we look at the Broncos defense, and they're quietly one of the best units in the NFL. So I know that the Ravens will be trying to work in Deontay Johnson, and that'll be interesting to see how many targets he gets in the run-first offense. The Ravens, of course, will try to establish the run, and that's something that I think helps us when we're grabbing a lot of points. We want that clock to be running. We don't want a ton of plays. We want the number of plays to be below the average in the NFL here. And the Broncos are quietly an efficient offense. They're not going to blow the lights out. They're not putting up huge scores here. But Nix isn't going to turn the ball over, and that, of course, is key when you're trying to avoid blowouts. And when you get the amount of points that I got earlier today or this week at 9.5, I'm loving that here. And so I think with this Baltimore Ravens team, we've seen the inconsistency. They lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. They lost to the Cleveland Browns. So this isn't the powerhouse of years of old that was a bully. I used to love laying more than a touchdown with the Ravens because it felt like they were a bully, and I almost thought that gave me incorrect power ratings on the team because their win margin and their net rating was so high when I was using margin of victory. The way they'd run up the score against the weaker teams, I thought was giving me an incorrect value on this team. We're not seeing that anymore right now. And so while the Ravens are a good team and I would say they are a Super Bowl contender, I think I disagree with JC. I don't see this team making the Super Bowl right now. I got them third in the AFC behind Kansas City and Buffalo. They still are a strong team, but this just is way too many points to give to the Denver Broncos. I like the Broncos to keep it close.
All right, make sure you throw your best bet or any questions about this week's slate in the chat. We'll try and answer your questions. Thursday night questions first, and then we'll get to the weekend questions as well. And then what kind of bets you got on tonight? Maddie says, I laddered every Texans wide receiver. One of them has to go off.
Yeah.
You laddered every single one of them? I don't believe you. I don't believe them, guys. I don't think
you probably got great odds too, though, just since Tank Dell.
Yeah, I hear you. We didn't touch Tank Dell. I wanted to, and Keg was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? Just to stay off the fishy plays here. Tank's going to face, the top level corners with the Jets, not the number 3 guy, not the slot guy. So you agree with that, huh, Zargo?
Yeah, it's the Juju problem. And I'm not saying I'm not faulting anyone for playing those because for all we know, I mean, he is a number 1 level guy. But if you're going to base your bets off of how we've seen him perform to this point in the season, there's not enough of a track record. And you're just going to get such better value on everyone else on the field that even if he does go off, I think he can still be profitable without touching him.
All right, guys, we are free tonight for Thursday Night Football right here on this YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on your notifications so when we go live, 8:10 Eastern time, we will be live for tonight's game with the Jets hosting the Texans. We'll be betting live. Very, very profitable this season. I don't think Kegs had a losing year in 11 years. So again, if you sign up, and you don't completely botch the plays, there's a very good chance you're going to be profitable as well. $59.99 a month. To me is the way to go. For those of you that have been here a while, you trust us already, $599.99 a year. That's your best value. But again, a lot of new people coming in saying, I don't know about these guys. Let's see. Sign up for the month. You're going to absolutely crush. You will get our pre-flop plays. You'll get our 1 and 4 o'clock plays behind the paywall on Sundays. You'll get all those two shows. The second half of most of the island games, we're going premium again. So like Sunday night, Monday night, first half free, second half premium, second half, halftime second half is when we make a lot of bets. So it's great to be on the bets that we do in the first half, but you got to be a member. So go to nukethehouse.com, check it out. All right, spread. I'm coming to you for your second play. Miami and Buffalo. The Bills at home, 6-point favorites. Crazy fact, I was hanging out with some Bills today, some Buffalo. I really would. I went about 7 minutes from my house. They got a whole bunch of Rome in Buffalo. It's a great time. Matt, I hit him up, told him I was there. He's like, those just look like gigantic furry cows. So maybe he's got a point. Maybe he doesn't. Feeding them apples. They absolutely love it. Anyways, I digress.
Sounds like they're fans.
Huh?
Sounds like they're fans.
They're fans. They're definitely fans.
No. I'm saying it sounds like you just described a Bills fan.
Oh,
Big,
I described the Bills.
eating.
None of them were jumping and falling into tables. Okay, Zargo. What do you got on Miami Buffalo for a spread?
Well, I couldn't, I have a lot of plays for this Sunday hold'em, but I couldn't pass up this opportunity to stick it to JC Zargo, the Miami Dolphins fan, one more time. We saw what happened when Buffalo traveled down to Miami earlier this season, and I know that Tua got hurt in the game, but that's not the reason they lost. They were way behind in that game before the injury occurred. And I'm hoping that Tua stays healthy tonight. I'm not wishing injury upon him, but I don't think it matters. I do not think it matters. And you're really going to see the difference in quarterback play in this game. You got one guy that's completely dependent on his system, completely dependent on his play caller, and having arguably the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL. And you got another guy who can make it work, and especially on third downs. Josh Allen is so tough on third down because if you play that perfect coverage, he's just going to tuck and run. He's just going to tuck and run. The other thing that we thought, during our preseason previews, Holden, we were not high on this Buffalo Bills defense. Nope. So we got to give credit for Sean McDermott because while, each individual player, we're not seeing a lot of talent. We're not seeing a bunch of guys that would fetch, second or third round picks if they were available on the trade market. He's made it work, and the Buffalo Bills defense has been just as good despite the loss of a bunch of big-name players. This is a big brother, little brother type deal. Buffalo crushed them in Miami. Now they're back at home. I see no reason why they don't pour it on. I got one real NFL head coach and one glorified offensive coordinator masquerading as the head coach. Give me the Buffalo Bills -6.
I mean, this Bills offense has just been electric, and I don't know how much Amari Cooper has to do with it, but they've scored 30 in back-to-back games with Amari Cooper on the roster. I mean, they're running the ball well. They've got Ray Davis to spell James Cook, and they didn't miss Stephon Diggs. They got Cooper in there. They've got good wide receivers, good young wide receivers. Khalil Shakir is going to be out there again. Dalton Kincaid. He's just got a lot of weapons. He really does. People thought he was going to take a step back because of no Diggs, but Diggs really was not as much of a factor as they needed him to be last year when they changed the offense up. So, okay, we got Buffalo -6. Zargo, you got the Rams -1.5 at Seattle.
Yeah. Come on, Holden. You're not going to let me rebuttal on that?
Yeah, we got to hear
rebuttal, please. I didn't know you were on the other side.
Look, I mean, it's funny. I can't believe Fred picked this play too because I really thought about it. But number one, I didn't seem like too much of a homer, and number two, I didn't have enough of a statistical argument. But I mean, +6 is just crazy. And a big part of it is this is a must-win game for the Dolphins, right? I mean, Spread and I got into it on Monday because he wants to fire McDaniel because he's been playing without his star quarterback and he can't win games without him. Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Can't win games with them. They're like 1-11 against teams over 500.
Again, selective stats, whatever. Neither here nor there. Last week, I thought Tua looked a lot better than I expected him to in his first game back. He's finding that groove. These receivers are clearly happy to have a competent quarterback throwing to him again. And the biggest thing here, man, is it's like I said, if Miami wants a chance at the playoffs, they got to start winning now. And you might be able to sneak in even if you don't beat Buffalo, but you're going to have to play competitive football to put themselves in that position. And I think +6 is just too many points. So while I'm not crying for Miami money line, they'll cover 6. They understand where they are in their season. They're capable of turning it around. They got their guys. They got their pieces. They're healthy. And Spread, if you want to just give me your money instead of donating it to the books, I'm more than happy to take it.
This is unbelievable. You got one team with a competent head coach and a competent defense. I got the better quarterback.
I mean, to be fair, Sean McDermott likes Osama bin Laden. So I got to take a point away from him on that. Now the line is just going to be 5.
I mean,
and Miami
I vaguely remember what you're talking about. Didn't he mention him in a speech or something?
Yeah, he got a little bit of trouble for that, which he should have.
The other thing too, like the worst part, the most offensive part is how you slander the most electric coach, probably in sports.
Electric?
Yeah. Is there a more entertaining guy out there?
I mean, I don't know. He's pretty.
I don't care about entertainment. I care about winning football games. And Mike McDaniel cannot do that against competent football teams.
But that's the kind of guy.
The Panthers. He can beat up on the Titans. But once they play a real team, he wilts every single time. And we cannot deny that this defense has gotten so much worse with the loss of Vic Fangio and the fact that since you paid your guy Tua all that money, you had to lose your defensive tackles. You've gotten worse at safety. Jalen Ramsey's getting a lot older. They're not going to be able to get stops. It's going to be a party in Buffalo. If I had more money, Holden, I would invest in folding tables in Buffalo stores because they're going to be jumping through them left and right after every touchdown as Buffalo runs up the score on this overrated team.
You can't blame Fangio. The Dolphins lost some key defensive players, and I think that did hurt them. But I don't think Fangio was what was detrimental.
All right, guys, I'm saying the loss of Fangio hurt the team. It's a downgrade from a defensive coaching perspective.
Guys, stop arguing for a second. The notification just came down. Josh Downs has opened at 54.5 receiving yards. Connor and Allen and I were waiting for this prop to drop when I did the show this morning with him. And over 54.5 at BetMGM has just been placed. And hopefully they'll come up with the alt lines for him very, very soon because Josh Downs is a guy that should be very, very busy. And he's the number 1 wide receiver now in Indianapolis. So I break in for breaking news. Connor Allen, very sharp guy, under better, actually going over. We love Josh Downs here at this shop. Now, Keg, I have not heard from him on it, but I'm just going ahead and placing it. BetMGM, Josh Downs, over 54.5, -10. That's going to go up. All right. Do you want to talk about the game I wanted you to talk about, Zargo? Rams,
for sure.
Seahawks?
Yes, of course. So this is one, I mean, we kind of touched on the trajectory of LA last week. And they did what they needed to do. They took care of Minnesota. They got a long break, and now they take on Seattle as just a short favorite. Seattle, a team that has lost 4 of their last 5. They got a weird win in Atlanta, but they've, slaughtered by Buffalo, slaughtered by the Giants, and even lost to the Giants. So Seattle's extremely overrated. I don't know why the line is so short. Rams look like they're coming in their own. And so there's 2 ways we can look at this. Number one is we look at last season and just look at, we reached that point in the season where it's do or die, and something about this team, something about Sean McVay, just get these boys going when it matters most. So, I mean, this is the time to buy low on the Rams And, it might be worth taking a look at those playoff odds for the Rams. So there's that aspect to it. But even if you want to go with the immediate, what's in front of us, what we've seen, Rams got the better defense. They're playing good football right now. They seem to find things. They're healthy. They got Kupp and Puka. Seattle had a cute start to the year, but they are looking horrible. They've dropped their last 2 games to LA. So in a game that's basically a pick 'em, I'm going to take the hot team. Give me the Rams.
Ooh, okay. All right. So let's go back to Thursday Night Football for a minute. I'm going to drop a prop that Keg threw out there. Now, it is the most bet prop as far as tickets goes at BetMGM, but sometimes these hit. And I'm going to put my faith in Keg and the boys on this one. Joe Mixon over 22.5 receiving yards. Again, on paper should smash as a runner. But if we're going to ladder that guy, you just can't do it because the 100 plus number is barely, it's barely good money. So 22.5 to the over on Mixon. What do you think about that, guys? Feel free to shit on Keg. I don't think you're going to, but I tailed this the second he dropped it in the chat.
No. I mean, I went receiving rushing yards. You can check out the article to see exactly how I attack that. Okay. But I see it because Mixon's going to have to be involved in a big way and expecting Tank Dell to get the heavy coverage. They're going to hand him the ball. They're going to throw him the ball. Might see some screen passes. So if we were looking at just one over under number, if we're not talking ladders, alts, if I was only going to take either over rushing, receiving, or rushing and receiving, I do think over 22.5 yards receiving is probably the safest play on Joe Mixon.
What do you think, Spread?
Yeah, I agree with the Mixon play. I have one more comment on props. However, I see our guy, Matt, in the chat talking about laddering them. And, some people don't want to play everything. You know which one I would play of the ones that he went with? Forget the veteran Robert Woods. Go with Xavier Hutchinson. And if our guy Ray Grayfox, who does great work handicapping college football, was here, he would talk about the film that he put together at Ohio State and why I think that he's going to be able to step in just fine. And I think CJ Stroud's going to find a new friend tonight. So I like the Hutchinson a lot. If I were to play like an original prop that's not just tailed from you guys, I'm joining Matt with Xavier Hutchinson.
Hey, while we're talking about the chat, I might have a new favorite guy. Clyde, he's been my guy for a while. He's the Patrick Beverly of the comment section. He's consistent. He shows up. He stirs things up. He's a difference maker. So I love Clyde. But Tim D 1387, man, that comment right there. Would you mind pinning that for me, Holden?
Yeah, pin it. And let's. Are we talking about the ability to score on the SATs? Because what good is being smart if you're not a good coach?
Which one is it? McDaniel.
McDaniel is the smartest.
No, not that one. Not that one. That one.
He's not the smartest coach in the. If you have to take in the ability to hold players accountable, the ability to develop players, and the ability to win against other coaches in the NFL that are good. And he hasn't done any of that. So, maybe you're right. If we're betting on who's going to be the best, if we gave every 32 coach an SAT score, maybe McDaniel would be a good bet. But when we're actually talking about coaching football.
Spread is just bitter because I have a coach who came in and took a horrible organization at the moment, great organization, whatever, I don't know, we didn't even talk about that, and brought him to playoffs 2 straight years after having no success since Dan Marino. He brought us to the playoffs. Okay, give the guy a chance to, sorry, he didn't come in and immediately carry us to the Super Bowl. This guy, I don't know what it takes for Spread. Meanwhile, he wouldn't shut up last year about a coach from Compton who, gave his team a chance to make the playoffs. I just can't.
Spread, are you okay, buddy? Those were some hurtful words that he just threw at you.
If you want to throw me on the therapist couch and see where the deep-rooted hatred and the reason why I'm probably the number one haters on YouTube is, I think JC's got to. I put it in the was it Discord today? I put it in there before. I might root for the 3 worst franchises in all of sports. I root for the Oakland A's, who I don't even know where they're playing. They're coming up to Sacramento. Vegas doesn't even want them. They might stay in Sacramento.
Okay.
But, I mean, they're a disgrace to baseball. The Las Vegas Raiders, who are an absolute joke. I mean, and then the Sacramento Kings, who just recently mortgaged their whole future just to make the playoffs one year and end the longest streak in North American sports. So, yes, in my heart, the last 20 years have made me a hater. And finally, JC is correct about something.
Finally.
It is a real shame too, Spread, because the Washington football team had you beat. And then Snyder sold the team, and suddenly they're not such a joke of a franchise. And then it's
True.
like got to be the Raiders or the Bears for the worst organization in football.
I mean, the Panthers are up there right now after Jared
Sure.
Richardson
Oh, yeah.
sold.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
pretty bad right now, too.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We do have some questions in the chat. I told people to drop questions and bets in the chat. So let's just get some thoughts in there. We did have I think it was Jabroni Clyde that said Broncos and Browns. Yeah. What would the line be?
You know
Let's
what?
say they're
I
playing on a neutral field.
I skipped talking about that one because I'm not really sure how much we upgrade the Browns now that they have a real quarterback and how much of effect that's going to make the team. So that one's tough for me. I mean, I don't know. JC, what would you say? I'd say it's either a pick or Cleveland -1.
Okay, I was thinking Denver gets a few points. And this is also crazy as the Bo Nix stand that you are. I mean, because Cleveland certainly, I mean, you got to look at this team in a completely different light. I just don't know how bright that light is. They got to go up against another team that really can't figure things out. So I don't know. It might be a while till we figure out how good the Cleveland Browns are with Jameis Winston under center. But I don't know. I'd say 2.5, 3 on neutral.
Yeah, maybe I'm just anchored too much on my priors of how dominant that Cleveland defense was last season.
Sure.
And now that they have like a reason to play, I mean, how disgusting is it, Weston Ben, to go out there and bust your butt every week just so Deshaun Watson can make $230 million to pay off all his lawsuits?
And the other thing, too, that makes it hard to handicap is, I mean, Denver's incredible defense statistically, but when you looked at who they played, I don't know how heavy you can weight that.
Yeah, good point. While Cleveland's over there duking it out in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL.
Right.
Kirk Gray's talk about a little money line here with college, NFL, and NBA with the Texans. Tulane -14, the Clippers +4.5. Just asking people to drop stuff in there. I kind of like that one. That's a fun bet. Mechie over 14.5 receiving yards. That'll be popular tonight, won't it? I mean, again, if you bet on 4 receivers from the Texans at their actual number, I'm not saying you're going to hit 3, but the likelihood is that you hit 3s at numbers this low. This is something that the Nuke the House team has been really good at. Identifying games where offense is not predicted, low player prop totals, betting overs on them. I don't know if we're laddering them tonight. I don't know how much there is to ladder pregame, but Mechie, that makes a lot of sense. Him, Hutchinson, the rest of these guys, they're all out there. Thomas, Nuke the Jets -2. Okay, Thomas on the Jets tonight. Very interesting. Very interesting. I won't have a bet on the side. I'm just not even going to bother. Not going to bother with a bet on the side tonight. But
I guess we'll just be eating steak on our own tonight, JC.
I guess you will be. I guess you will be. I don't want to mess with that side, but
I have my biggest bet of the season on Texas money line.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this like a 17-unit whale play?
No, I'm not one of those guys. It's like triple units. I will occasionally do 2, but I don't know. It's plus money. It's for me to do that type of play, it has to be like, if it just loses, it loses. I didn't miss anything. Like, I know I have the proper read on this. It's sports, crazy things happen. So I'm not going to be kicking myself for being like, how did I not see the Jets win in this game? I just feel that confident. And that combined with that, I'm doing 3 units.
All right. What is your best bet tonight, Spread? Go back and give it again.
I mean, give me the Houston Texans money line. And I see Thomas in the chat saying public on them big. Okay. Yeah, I love these. So we trust the information these sports books are giving us, huh? We don't think there's any way they could be possibly trying to mislead us. When, if I log on to Twitter, every single handicapper is giving out the Jets. Every single handicapper is giving out the Jets. So I don't understand why he thinks the public's on the big, and why, if the public was on the big, why did this move from a pick to -2 during the week? So give me the Texans money line. I'm not falling for the okie doke. I don't believe those bet stats that they put out. It's not like they would have an incentive to try and get people to bet one way or the other. So maybe I am with the public, but guess what? The public wins sometimes too.
Well, you know
it's
what?
Not that the public can't bet. It's the strength of the -110 hold'em.
Here's the sharp money. Sharp money on the Jets money line. 28% of the bets are on the Jets. 53% of the handle.
Is that sharp money? Because first of all, if you're a sharp bettor, you're going to get limited. Or are you just a guy in Queens that has a crap load of money? The Jets have an affluent fan.
They don't move it on some jabroni out in Queens that bets once in a blue moon on a team. Usually that's people coming into the books and laying down the money. That's where that sharp.
But I mean, but if every jabroni in Queens is betting on the Jets, that could move the line.
It could, yeah, but how much are they getting down? They're not getting 100K down. So again, 28% of the bets, 53% of the handle on the Jets, 66% of the bets are on the Texans +2, 43% of the handle there. So you can read into that whatever you want. And then as far as the total goes, everybody's on the over here. 63% of the handle, 64% of the bets on the over 42.5. So do with that what you would like. Spread, you gave out your bet. Zargo, same thing?
I mean, it's great, but I like it, but I'll give it another one just to add to the pile. I got several props on my article. You can go check that out. So just to give you something different.
Yeah, we're not messing with sides and totals on the live show. I'll just tell you that much right now.
I like CJ Stroud rushing prop. It's kind of all over the place, all the way 8 to 10. I like 10+. The Jets do have a solid secondary. They're going to be eyeing Joe Mixon. So I think Stroud's going to have some opportunities to use his legs. And so like I said, 10 yards, 1 rush, maybe 2. No problem he gets there. I think that's a nice little clean play.
8.5 FanDuel, 9.5 Sugar House Bet Rivers. If you want to bet as under, you can go offshore. Like Bet Online was a 10.5. So that's how you attack the Stroud props. I don't have a best bet in this game. I'm just going to go into it. I'll tell you that Mixon over 22.5 receiving yards from Keg, that could be my best bet. But my best bet of the week, and I'll talk about it a lot tomorrow on Nuke the Props, our player prop show, 4:00 on Friday. Our guy Tyler's on that. And it'll be Josh Downs over 54.5. This line's going to go up. He's too good with Joe Flacco. He's too good of an athlete to begin with. And now you throw Flacco in there, forget about it. Josh Downs going to blow through that number, and we'll see what we can do for his alt numbers as well. So like button on the way out would be great. Live show tonight, 8:10 Eastern time. Jets Texans. We'll bet it live. Free show right here on the Nuke the House YouTube channel. If you haven't already signed up, get to nukethehouse.com. $19.99 a week, or $59.99 a month, or $599.99 a year. Zargo, what's the next show you're going to be on, dude? When can we see you again? What kind of writing? What kind of shorts? What do you got for us?
Every Tuesday, Thursday, doing NHL shorts. Got one over on YouTube now. NFL Sunday article coming. Going on a cruise for my birthday, so I'll miss next week's Wednesday NHL live show, but I'll be there the following week. As the season goes along, man, I'm just heating up. Like little rocky to start, but I promise you, by the time January hits, it's free money.
Spreader NBA. Sorry, Zargo. Spreader NBA rundown's coming up.
That's right. Not much time to wait, guys. You can get up, go to the bathroom. If you're Clyde, probably bang your girlfriend 2 times, and we're on in 16 minutes.
Spread from the top rope. Wow. Wow. I just got that 2 times in 14 minutes. Like, you got to be 16 to be able to do that, man. There's no grown-ass adult that can do that. Anyways, NBA rundown coming up 15 minutes from now. That is Thursday Night Thoughts. Get into our live show tonight and say hello. Hit the like button on the way out. Boys, great show. Those are our Thursday night thoughts for Zargo and Spread. I'm Kush. Let's nuke the house.